it's Amy and Lisa from the Virtual Beauty Bar. In this series, we're talking about how to find new customers, and today we're going to talk about your Who Do You Know list. So get ready to tap into your connections and boost your business. We'll be covering so much more in this series, so don't forget to like and subscribe. But without further ado, let's dive in.
Okay, hi Amy.
Hi Lisa, are you okay?
I'm good, thank you. Yes, so I've been on to the Avon Training Academy, and I have downloaded the Who Do You Know list. So this is where we're going to start today, isn't it? So as you'll see on here, there is six sections. So don't worry if you don't have a printer, because you can just grab a notebook and make some notes in that as well. So it doesn't matter whether you're a new rep or whether you're a rep that just wants to go over your Who Do You Know list and maybe just jog your memory a little bit of where you can find some connections. So we're going to do this along with you today. So yeah, let's kick off. So there's 6 topics on this list, isn't there?
There are, yeah.
So we've got friends and family and their work friends. We've got neighbours, colleagues, college or university, social media, followers and friends, acquaintances, clubs, local community, places to connect with, community centres. So you know, if you've printed this off, you can just make your notes on there or just grab your notebook and get started. So we're going to start with the first one on the list, which is friends, family and their work colleagues or work friends. So over to you. Let's hear some advice from you.
Yeah, so I think, to be honest, this one, it's you could expand it much more than just those 3 topics. So think about your immediate friends and family, but let's start with family, for instance. So your immediate family would be parents, siblings, but let's look at that a little bit further. Have you got cousins, aunts, uncles, grandparents? And then talk about cousins. And so that list gets bigger and bigger and bigger the more and more you think about it. And automatically, if I go talk about all my cousins, I've automatically got a list of nearly 30 people. So yes, yeah. So I can, you know, that list can start from what you think might be just immediate family, but it's not. It can spread far and wide. And then when it comes to your friends, think about the friends over your decades. So, for instance, when I look at my social media, I've got friends that I went to school with. Avon is now my full-time job, but I used to work before that. So I used to have work friends that I'm still friends with on social media. And so it's friends from over the decades as well. If they don't have an Avon representative, they could still shop through you. So that's ideal. And also your current friends. So, for instance, all of the different like mum friends that I personally have now, and things like that. So it does, that list just gets bigger and bigger and bigger the more you think about the different groups of friends that you might have, whether it be friends at clubs, friends, mum friends, friends you went to school with, and vice versa.
Yeah.
But with that as well, I would personally say as well, think about who your parents' friends are or your siblings' friends are. Again, that list could get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah. And we do all have different lists, don't we? You know, we don't, just because people might live on the same street doesn't necessarily mean they're going to have the same connections. Yeah, so we do all have different, and I've only got a small family, you know, so some people might not have very many connections in that area and some people might have loads. So also don't think, oh, this is it, what I write on this today. You know, it's going to be an ever evolving list. This is something you can come back to, and you know, you might have a new friend, you might add them on the list, and it doesn't necessarily mean that everybody you meet you're going to be you know, handing brochures out to, or you know, being an absolute nightmare of a pest about it, because sometimes it's just about building those connections with people and realizing, you know, and saying to people, you know, oh, I just wanted to let you know I'm doing this now. And a lot of people are always delighted, aren't they?
Absolutely.
So it's just basically, the purpose of this is to just empty your head of ideas and where you can kind of go with it. My mum's really good. My mum is a real avid gardener. She talks to all her neighbours. So when I give her a book, she's giving it out to all the neighbours, lending it to them. And I'm like, I'll give them a book. You know, she's like, no, I want to talk to them. I want to talk to them. She loves it. You know, she likes kind of that being involved, and, you know, I'll have their orders and she likes to get the money for me. And, you know, that's where we kind of melt into Avon Angels, but that's for another time, isn't it? You know, so yeah, just figure out where those connections are for you. Work, friends as well, like you just touched on. I don't work. I do work. This is my full-time job. I don't do anything else, but I know my husband works in a school, and, you know, he's not a teacher, but he sells Avon in the school, and he puts all the books in the pigeonholes, not every month, but sometimes he will, and people know he does it. They'll come to him for books. So, you know, just think about who's around you as well. So not necessarily like you might think, well, I don't have a job, but who do you know that does, that could possibly maybe take some books for you as well. So next
Absolutely.
one is neighbours. So this is where we all kind of start, isn't it, with books?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I personally found as well, although I've been doing Avon 11 years, 4 years ago we relocated, so all my neighbours were new to me, and it was a great way of meeting them, to be honest. It was really, really lovely. So I used to just put in a little slip of paper and say, hi, I am Amy, I live at number 13, I'm an Avon representative, I'll come and collect the book in a couple of days. And knowing that you're not just a stranger and you are actually a neighbour really, really helped. And it was a lovely way of meeting my neighbours as well. Because at the time that we moved in as well, it was just like at the latter end of COVID. So people were still wary about going out and things like that. And so that was really, really nice way of meeting them as well.
Yeah, I go out walking. My friend has a dog. I don't have a dog. I have a cat. But sometimes I'll go out with her and we'll go on a dog walk, and we'll go like looking for roads, or, you know, I'll say, let's just go down here, this, because we live on a new estate, 750 houses. There's always a new road opening. So sometimes I go out with her. We just go for a walk, looking like, where can we go? But I'm also in like 2 Facebook groups for our estate, because when people move onto new estates, they're always asking questions, asking for recommendations, and you can guarantee someone will be in there going, is there an Avon rep? And people know me on the estate. And occasionally I'll go in the group and post and say, oh, does anybody like a brochure? But also something that I'm planning on doing this month, now the weather's turned nice, is to put a box outside my front door with a couple of brochures in, and then I'll share that on the group. But I know some reps have them on ledges on the, they might have a wall where they live, or they might put a sign up in the window. So, there's quite a lot you can do with your neighbours, isn't there, really, but without really thinking about it.
Absolutely. We live in a quiet little cul-de-sac, but actually at the bottom of the cul-de-sac is like a walk through into like the fields. So we still get quite a lot of people walking past. So they might not be neighbours that actually live on the street, but they're within the neighbourhood. So that's exactly what I do in the summer months. It's not been so great in the like rainy months that we've had, but certainly in the summer months I put some brochures out, and they always seem to go, you don't realize how busy your road is. So whether it's dog walkers or just people out and about on a walk, people visiting your neighbours as well. So whether it's their family and friends visiting them and see a box out, that they will take one as well. So there's loads and loads of things that you could do with the neighbourhood as well, for sure.
Just don't know, do you? Just no, right, lovely. Colleagues, colleges, and universities. Well, I didn't go to university, so If anyone's got any tips for this, please feel free to drop them in the captions, because we are not the fountain of knowledge. We do not know everything. And as much as we'd love to share our tips with you, we'd love you to share your tips with us. So please do make sure that you subscribe, because we have so much coming in future episodes. And before we go on to this topic, I will just touch on, some people might be thinking as they're watching this episode, we're missing loads out. Like I mentioned, you can get this from the Avon Training Academy. And on the other side, this is the next episode we're going to touch on, isn't it, Amy? And this is this is more of a developed list of different places that you can go to. So we're going to do that on the next episode. So yeah, please make sure that you subscribe for all future episodes, and also comment below anything that you would like to give some advice to other people about, because we'd love to hear from you. So, okay, colleges, colleagues, or universities?
Yeah, so if you are a student in one of those sectors, think about your fellow students, or if you have previously been to college or university, are they on your social media that you could reach out to? Like I said at the beginning as well, it's finding connections from across your decades, you know, and across the years is where we need to think about. So although you might not speak to them on a daily basis, they may not have a representative where they live, so you could share the digital brochure with them and they can still shop through you. And again, we'll be covering this on future episodes, the different ways to get your customers to shop through you, but that is definitely an idea. Don't think because they don't live near you that they can't shop through you, that's for sure anyway.
Yeah, and colleagues, you know, like we've said, this is our full-time job, but for other people who might have a job, like my husband's in a school, he has, you know, there's over 100 staff at least in the school. So, you know, there's, just think about, maybe even if you don't have a job somewhere, maybe your partner does, or maybe, like you were saying before, going back to the first topic of the friends and the family, who do you know that does work somewhere where there's a big footfall of people? You know, so think about those and develop those areas. So yeah, so, you know, these things can be big topics, but it just depends on you. Like I said, I didn't go to university, so that's quite a light topic for me. You know, I don't have loads, but for other people who do, they might now know people who live in other areas of the country, and they might have you know, their network of followers might be all over the place. So, which is on to the next subject, doesn't it? Rolls on quite nicely. Social media, followers and friends. This is my favorite subject, the social media. So the first thing I would say, if you are a new rep, is to just go on and just do a little shout out and go, hi, you know, I've joined Avon, I'm a new rep, and would anyone like to see a brochure? That's the thing, isn't it? Would anyone like to see a brochure? That's it. You know, we're not overselling anything. We're just asking people, do they want to have a little look? And I think the best posts that work well are the ones where you're in it, where you're holding that brochure. And I know there's graphics available, isn't there, in the academy that you can go in and you can search for, that says, oh, hi, I've just joined Avon. But if you can physically take a picture of that, get your face in it, and make it unique to you, make that content unique to you. You know, so get out there and just put a post on. And if you're a rep who, you know, you've been doing it a while and it's not something you do, but if you've got in the back of your mind, I want to sell digitally, I want to be more online, then you have to be conscious of always building and adding into that list to make that list bigger. So, you know, like, look back through your own timeline and look and think, when was the last time, you know, I asked anyone, did they want to see a brochure? Who have I missed? So I'll touch a little bit on the gym, because I know that's coming up, but sometimes there's people I see in the gym who don't live where I deliver. They don't want an online order. They want a book. They want to bring it me back. they want to come and collect from me in a car park or from the gym. You know, like it can be anything, can't it? It can be like where you don't expect it to really be. So social media is such a big topic that we just can't cover in everything we need to say in this one episode. But yeah, go on your timeline if you're not a new rep and look back and think, when was the last time I asked? You know, but don't let every post be a selling post, because your followers are just going to be switching off. You have
Yeah.
to give people a bit more, but we can touch on that a bit more in future.
Rest assured that will be in another episode.
Yeah. So just ask people, would they like to see a book? But my best advice would be, get yourself the latest brochure, get it next to your head, get it with a coffee or your hand on it, so you know that's your unique picture. So yeah, next one is acquaintances, clubs and local communities. So go on, you have so many networks with your kids, don't you? Off you go.
Yeah, just think about your little different groups that you might go to. So for instance, I've got two young children, so for me personally, both of their swimming classes, that is two different groups of people. My eldest son's swimming lesson versus my youngest son's swimming lesson, they're two different times, two different sections of groups of people. I've also got one at nursery and one at school. So I've got school mums and I've got nursery mums, or parents. It doesn't have to just be mums, of course. So yeah, all of the different groups. I've got beavers and scouting and football groups and things. So there's various different groups as well that you could think about. And then we will be covering this more deeply in another episode, but something that I've recently started doing is think about public places. So for instance, like a hairdresser's, where someone might be sitting still or standing still for a couple of minutes, whether it be a takeaway shop where they're waiting for their food to be cooked and someone is doing nothing for a couple of minutes. I've bought these stands just on Amazon. So on here it just says, if the brochures have run out on this stand, please text the word more and your location to, and then put my phone number. So this holds about 4 to 6 books, depending on if we've got bonus brochures that month or not. And then on the back, I have created this
Brilliant.
yeah, QR code generator, just free, just typed into Google QR code generator. And if people would prefer to look at it on their phone, or if the stand is empty, they can still access the brochure by scanning that with their QR, with their phone.
So
And they
do
can
they
get
come
it
in
on their
like packs of 6 something? How many was in a pack?
I think off the top of my head, it was a pack of 6 for £8.99, but I can pop it in the comments if
Yeah,
needs
that's
be.
great. Perfect. We'll do that. We'll link that below.
Yeah, that'd be so yeah, and we will be covering that in another episode as well, about leaving books in public places. So rest assured, I'm sure my little stand will be out again.
Yeah, no, I've had loads of customers come from my hairdresser. She really kindly allows me to leave them in there. She's a great customer myself for me. And I've had people who have taken a brochure and have rang me up, and then they've gone, oh, I've passed the brochure on to somebody else. So I think last month one person took a brochure, passed it on to a friend, and then the friend ordered as well as that person, and then I ended up canvassing that street, and I've got 4 new customers in that street. So, and literally it's not far, so you just don't know how that rolls on, do you really?
That's it.
So that's great. So a little tip from me about clubs and local communities. I go to the gym, as I mentioned before, and the one thing I do when I go in, I always go at 7 a.m. in the morning. Sometimes I might go at 6 at night, but I kind of know all those people. But there's always new people joining. So when I go in, I always try and stand next to somebody I don't know, and just have a little bit of a general chit chat and just ask the name. I never really talk about what I do. Sometimes I ask them what they do, And if I've got enough time, and then they always ask back. People always ask back what you do, and they go, "Oh, Avon, yeah, you know." So I always go, "Oh, yeah, it's brochure on the side." So then what I do is when I get home, we have a Facebook group for our boot camp. I just go in there, have a little look, see if I can find that person and add them on Facebook, because that's kind of the long game. That's the attraction marketing. You're adding them in, you're adding them as a friend. They're going to see all your future posts. Not everything on my timeline is going to be Avon. It's going to be a mix of other stuff as well. So yeah, think about always with your social media growing that list of friends. So, you know, think about the different places that you go to. Do they have social media for their club? You know, God, how many WhatsApp groups are you in? WhatsApp groups.
Far too many.
So yeah, Facebook groups and WhatsApp groups, you know, those communities where you meet those people. And if you think you might have something in common with them, then, you know, feel free to add them. If they don't want to add you, you know, doesn't matter, does it? But if they do, you never know, you might learn something about them. You know, might be something interesting about them. So that is the acquaintances, clubs and local communities section. The next box is places to connect with community centres. Where do you go?
And I
So
think, like I say, we'll cover this in another topic about leaving brochures in public places. I think this will be where it comes into its own. But I guess it comes down to, you know, have a start to think about, like I mentioned before, where might people be sitting or standing for a couple of minutes, twiddling their thumbs, you know, whether it be a hairdresser's, whether it will be a bar, whether it would be a takeaway shop, all these different things. And we will come on to this in another episode because I think that links well.
that's massive, isn't it, that list? And
Okay.
it might not all be relevant to you, and there might be other places that, you know, you might think, well, actually, yeah, or I didn't think of that. That might seem obvious after somebody says it. So yeah, we'll cover that list because that's absolutely mega. So we need to do that in a completely other episode. So, and if failing all that, you're still not sure, and you think, I don't want to do this, or I don't want to do that, or I can't ask them, or I feel anxious, then pop some earphones in, go out with your book, turn left or right, off you go with your books, and drop them through some doors. I always kind of look at doors and go, oh, that's a good opportunity, that door. You know,
I
and
always
also
say, like, I go round and thinking, oh, which new front door do I like?
yeah, yeah. And also, when we were at the training, ambassador training last week, somebody said to me, oh, when I've got a new rep that joins, I just go on Google, put their postcode in, blow it up and print a map off. And I thought, that's such a good idea, isn't it?
Brilliant
So,
idea.
so I'm going to do that because, like I said, I'm on a new estate, 750 houses. I don't know what roads are open. I've canvassed some, but you know, also we're starting to see now houses reselling. You know, so
Yes.
that's another thing we're making notes on, isn't it? Of the houses that are sold, they've got new people in, so it might be worth dropping a new book there as well. So we've got loads of tips there. Have you got anything you think we might have missed?
I don't think so. It kind of, like I say, it kind of spirals and snowballs, really. What you think would start off as a relatively small list can actually snowball into a relatively large list, like not thinking about your immediate family, thinking about kind of who you maybe haven't spoken to for a while, but your bigger list, and going on from there. And I mean, when I personally started writing out this list when I first joined Avon, I had a list of over 100 names, and which sounds really daunting, but actually when you split it down to those different categories, it's really not many.
No, and this is an organic list. You know, this is something that you're just going to keep developing and adding to. So don't think this is it. I've got to write 40 names on or 100 names on. You know, you might just start with 10. You might start with 10. And then as you start to think of things, you might add more in. And if you're not sure who you know or what you do, I always think a great tip is go on your phone and look at all your apps because that jogs your memory. as well, doesn't it? You know, with things. So don't be feeling overwhelmed. Just get it all out your head, write it down, and just tackle it a little bit at a time. Yeah, because it's just going to be an ever-evolving list. And I just have visions of you now turning up for swimming with like basically a sack full of brochures, handing them out. I always keep a couple in my car, in my bag. And if you don't drive and you're a young mum, stick them in your pram. Just wherever you're going, just try and have a couple in your bag, because you just don't know. Sometimes people will ask me for one, and I'm shopping in Lidl, and I'm like, oh gosh, I've got one in my car. I've always got one in my car, so just let me run to my car. So just try and make it as easy as possible for yourself, and also have a little notebook. I have a little small book. I have my big list because Amy's been teaching me about zoning. So we'll come to that in future, but I have a little list as well for my deliveries. And when I give somebody a book in that, I write it in there, or I might hand a book out and I'll think, right, I don't know where they live, but I'm going to just make a note of that. And I can always contact them on Facebook. And if they don't buy this month, I can ask them, would you like a book next month? Where do you live? And find out where they live, if they're local to me. So there is so many different opportunities for finding new customers. It's a massive topic, isn't it?
It really is, and there's so many different ways as well about going about it as well. There's no right or wrong way. These are just hints and tips about where you can start, especially when you're a new rep, it can feel a bit daunting as to where do I start. So these are just a few hints and tips
And
and categories.
we just thought, didn't we, like when we started writing all this down, we were like, this is such a massive subject, we can't tackle it in just like 1 30-minute video or 1 half-an-hour video. We just thought we need to do like episode after episode, because I think it's going to be constantly evolving, isn't it? Even when we think we've done it, we're going to keep learning more, and it's like, oh, there's another episode there. Let's just make another one.
You readdress your list every 6 months, if not less, because within 6 months, think about who you've met over the last 6 months and you can add them to your list. It's a constant look back list. So if you are or have been a rep for a number of years and haven't looked back at your list for a number of years, or even if it has been 6 months, look at it again and think, who could you add on to it now?
Yeah, even my zone list, when I pick up a new customer, they go on a particular sheet and I write it in pen or pencil. And then when I'm printing it out the next month, I'll go on my computer, update it, reprint it, and then the list's getting bigger. I'm having to split people onto separate pages, and that list's getting bigger every month. So I do update mine every month. That's just where I'm at. So I think we've covered loads, haven't we?
Yeah, definitely.
Brilliant. So that's all from us in this episode. We hope you've really enjoyed it, and we've really enjoyed filming it, and we hope that you'll join us for many more. So please don't forget to like and subscribe, comment below. But also, we've got something exciting, haven't we, Amy?
We have.
We've got an email address, honestly. How proud are we? So if you would like to email us, then if you've got any questions, or you think maybe we should do a video in future about something, or if we have a Q&A, you want to contact us for whatever reason, then please feel free. Our email address is thevirtualbeautybar@gmail.com. And we would absolutely love a little bit of feedback and an email off you. And we'd love to hear, have you enjoyed it, or what can we do to make it better? So thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye.